I don't know about you, but I've got a bone to pick, right? Unless you're already rich in our current world, look around. The pressure for you to make money has grown tenfold, right? We need far more than get by money in today's world. And, you're probably looking for a new strategy to do this. The reality is, you're trying to take matters into your own hands, and that's smart, but it can be risky. There's a lot of opportunities that promise big pay but really never pan out. And they're way more work than you signed up for. But what if you could have your cake and eat it too? Put in the work up front so that you have one property that cash flows you for the rest of your life, grows an appreciating asset, and it's something that you can hand down from generations to generations. An opportunity where the supply is low and the demand is off the chart, where you can practically call the rates in an industry that is booming, that is unaffected by economic downturns. You could be the solution to everyone's problem. The reality is, right now, people are worried. People are worried about paying their bills, about inflation, about their buying power, about future opportunities for what their kids' world is going to look like. If this is what our world looks like, what are we leaving to them? And maybe you're worried about not making a difference, not leaving a mark in the world, not making an impact in your family, your community's lives. Some of you might be worried about your parents and your own elderly loved ones, what's going to happen when they need assistance and care. This could be that opportunity for you. The baby boomers have been driving our economy for the last 70 plus years, and this is your last chance to take advantage of the trends that they create. The silver tsunami of seniors is just 5 years out from hitting the shore. The world looked very different in 1950 than it's projected to look in 2050 or even 2060. That 85 plus demographic, it is the fastest growing demographic on planet Earth today. The seniors are coming and we cannot stop them. But like I said, we're still 5 years out. So this is something that if you get invested in right now, you get your RAL set up, you build your brand, build your reputation. When we hit that big green wall, that huge spike where 76 million baby boomers are coming into this market, the opportunity is absolutely yours. Now, if you wait 5, 10, 15 years and get in when everyone else is trying to get in, you're going to be sorry about it. Timing has never been better. Right now is the best timing we've ever had. But what we're talking about with residential assisted living is disrupting the senior housing industry as you may know it. Kind of like what Ubers did to taxis or what Airbnbs did to hotels. We're saying no more are big commercial facilities the only options for seniors. There's something smaller, there's something more intimate where they actually get the quality care and good food and love and attention that they're paying for and so deserve. And it's somewhere that you might feel proud to have your loved one, not be ashamed that you had to put them there. When we think about what's going to change this year, we can kind of drive ourselves crazy, banging our head against the walls. Like, what's going to go on economically, politically, socially? What's going to happen? Are we going to be living in the metaverse or using AI for everything? I don't know. And I don't have that answer today. But I like to ask the opposite question. What's not going to change? What's never going away? Because I don't know about you, but as much as I try to stop it, I continue to age every single day. And most of us are on that path, right? Aging. Seniors aging and needing care is never going to go away. You can't say, hey, mom, stop. Inflation is crazy right now. Sorry, bad time. Hey, dad, I lost my job. Not the best time. Can you hold on? No. Because when a senior needs care, they need it and they need it now. It's not, hey, mom, hold on. Hey, dad, later. No, 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 no. Our journey began with a phone call. My grandmother fell and broke her hip, and the doctor called and said she cannot go home alone without 24/7 care and help with her activities of daily living. Who's coming to pick her up? And in that moment, you get like a flash, like, whoa, what do you mean she can't go home alone anymore? What do you mean everything turns upside down? And you really have three choices in that moment. One, is someone going to quit their job and go take care of mom or dad full time? Two, are you going to get in-home care, which is insanely expensive? I'll share with you some numbers in just a moment. Or three, are you going to put her into a home? And as soon as you say it, you're just like, oh, I promised I wouldn't. I said I'd never, right? That's the exact scenario we found ourselves in with my beloved grandmother, Marie. She was mother to 7, grandmother to over 20 of us, took care of her mother until the last days, her husband until the last days. She deserved the best of the best. And every single facility we went to visit was stinky. The food was bad. The care was bad. They were expensive and they had waiting lists. I didn't even want to leave my goldfish, let alone my grandmother there. But in this moment, we realized that, hey, there has to be something better. There has to be something where, like, it's not so terrible. And we stumbled into residential assisted living, senior housing in a residential setting. My dad did quick math and went, wait. We're going to pay 6 grand a month for her to live in one of these homes, or we could own the home, cash flow 10 grand a month, and she could live for free. We need to get into this industry. And he was kind of the founder, right? The godfather of residential assisted living. He spoke on, at Realty 411 events in the past many times. And he always used to say, I guarantee you're going to get involved in senior housing one way or the other. Either you will be lying in the bed or writing the check for someone who is, or you could be cash flowing, having that place for your loved ones to go when they need it, and really winning on that end. It's up to you. You're going to get involved one way or the other. Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 keys to success in residential assisted living, as well as how to become a preferred real estate provider for those of you who just want to be on more the real estate side of this. Now, Jason gave me a beautiful introduction right there, but for those of you who I don't know, I'm the CEO of Residential Assisted Living Academy. I was named top senior housing influencer. I personally own and operate 3 care homes in Phoenix market. I'm the lead educator at RAL Academy, was named Future Leader by Senior Housing News. I've written books on this topic. I host podcasts on this topic. I'm all in on assisted living. And it's really a family thing for me because when I started working with my father in this industry 11 years ago, I had no idea that in 2021 he would pass suddenly and I'd be left 3 cash flowing businesses. But I'm blessed that I worked by his side. He was my best friend, my mentor, and like I said, really the godfather of residential assisted living. He taught me everything he knew and learned about this industry. But what meant the most to me was when we were at an event and Robert Kiyosaki's over in the corner and we're like, oh my gosh, Robert's here. How cool. I wonder if we'll get to talk to him. And then he turns around and he looks at my dad and he goes, hey, that's the assisted living guy. And he ran over to my dad and he said, Gene, tell me everything. My wife Kim and I want to start investing in these. I'm getting old and I need a place to invest. And this is where the money is. Tell me everything. And as amazing as a teacher Robert is, he's also an excellent student. They became fast friends on the Real Estate Guys radio show cruise, met up again at the New Orleans Investment Conference, and he started attending our conferences that we host every single year, the assisted living conferences. He actually talked about senior housing on his podcast. I'm going to see if I could play this clip for us right here. We'll see if we can get audio. Let me know in the chat if you have audio. Here we go. Let's dive in. Whoop. Never mind. Let me do this. There we go.
It's not here to understand radio shows that good news and bad news about money. And some people already know, we broadcast from gorgeous downtown Old Town, Scottsdale, Arizona, where it's either heaven or hell. The show is about real estate, in my opinion, and according to my tax advisors and anybody who's in the know about real investing, there's nothing better than investing in real estate from debt and tax points of view. It is the best. So the question is, what is the number one most important, most profitable, the investment to be real estate investment to be in today? And that's our discussion.
And number one,
the one we're talking about today is what, Kim?
senior housing.
And it's what we're talking about today. It's number one, is so far ahead. It's in the excellent category, and everything else is fair to abysmal. And our guest today has been a friend for years. It's Victor Minash. He is a serial entrepreneur. He started off in Silicon Valley as a smart guy, and then he found religion in real estate. And so Victor is going to be talking to us today about the joys and beauty of assisted living for old guys like me. So the last thing is this, Victor, without asking you, do you offer seminars on this?
And the residential assisted living academy. We know very well.
Right.
Also does. And in fact, Gene is based in Phoenix, so a lot of the workshops that he holds are based there. If you want to find out more about that, go to the Residential Assisted Living Academy.
Residential Assisted Living Academy.
Well, there we go. I didn't hear from you guys in the chat, so I'm hoping you had audio on that one. But these are the charts he was looking at. The development prospects, right? That senior housing is top and far ahead of everyone else, as well as the investment prospects when we're looking at what we should be investing in these coming years. Now, we all know Robert is about, rich dad, poor dad. He's about using real estate to get out of the rat race. But today, we're not here to talk about him. He's invested over $100 million in this industry, and you do not have to invest that much. We're here to talk about you, what you want, what you need to become financially free and live the life of your dreams. So, how much money do you need every single month? If you had this dollar amount on a check coming in, you could just take that woo-saw breath. Spend time with who you want, donate to what you want, live where you want, invest in what you want. Got that number in mind? Okay. I'm blessed to share on this topic all across the country, and the number one response that I get is about $10,000 a month. Now, if you need 2 times this, if you need 3 times this, that is a-okay, because just one residential assisted living home can get you there. So we're talking 1, 2, or 3 properties, depending on your financial needs. That is absolutely possible. Not hundreds of doors, not thousands of units, 1, 2, or 3 to get to your financially free number. Now, there are 4 ways that you can get started in this industry. And I want to cover all of them because you might be thinking that it's really only number 2, but reality, there's 4 ways. The first way is you could buy an existing business and the real estate. This is going to cost you, right? The real estate cost, the business cost, which is 2 to 5 times the EBITDA. You're going to need some, renovation and carrying cost, but it may be an expensive way to get in, but it's a faster way to get in. You could do this within 3 to 6 months of finding a great deal. So there's a lot of these care homes that are for sale, especially depending on where you are in the country. There's currently 30,000 group homes that exist in the country. And many times the person who owns and operates them, they're working in them, they're living in them, they're doing everything themselves. And after about 6, 7 years, they burn out. They're ready for their next phase of life. And that's the perfect time for you to come in, buy the business, and kind of flip it. Turn it more professional, really run it as a business owner, like I'm going to share with you how we do. Number 2, you can buy a single family home or use a single family home you already have and convert it to become an RAL. This is the cost of the real estate, the cost of the renovation, FF&E, your furniture, fixtures, and equipment, and carrying costs, because you're not going to be up and running, cash flowing day one, right? So we're going to need some money to leverage us and get us through there. And don't worry, you're not using your own money to invest in RAL. We're going to break down how you can use OPM to get started in this industry. Now, that number 2 probably is like a 6 to 12 month timeline, depending on how much renovation or conversion needs to be done. Number 3, buying land and custom building from the ground up. This is a great way to get started, especially for those of you who are allowed to have more than 10 residents in a home, because it's going to be hard for us to find a 10-10 or 12-12 on the market, right? So a lot of times doing a custom build built to suit for this purpose is just absolutely amazing with those larger numbers that you're allowed to have. Now that will be the cost of the land, the cost of the build, carrying cost, and FF&E, and it could be a 1 to 3 year timeline. The 4th way to get started, which is the fastest and cheapest, is to lease a home to use for this. So someone else has purchased and renovated the real estate, and you're just coming in day one, ready to go. You might do a first month's rent, a security deposit, something of that nature. So you could be in for pretty low cost. You're still going to need carrying cost and FF&E, but this is definitely a faster way to get started. Easily, you could do this within 3 months. So there are 4 ways to get started, 4 different price points, 4 different timelines, and all of them may suit different needs for each of you here listening today. Now, why should you invest in residential assisted living? We now know the 4 opportunities, but why? Well, maybe you're seeing what I'm seeing, the unstoppable silver tsunami of seniors. You understand that this is coming to the shore and you want to take your piece of the pie on how you can support our seniors in a more, conducive way, but also support your own family, your own investment portfolio. This is a way you can do good and do well. Maybe you're starting to see the timing. You know that this is a 20-year wave and you've missed other waves, right? You didn't have a crystal ball in 2008, but now you do. You know what's coming. You know the supply is low. You know the demand is off the chart and you want to ride the wave. Maybe you're also seeing the inevitability of it all. You're going to get involved one way or the other. Right now, you have the choice as to how you want to get involved. I'm not the only one noticing these trends. Meg the Stallion went back to Texas Southern University to learn how to open an assisted living facility. Why is a rapper getting involved in senior housing? You tell me. Tyler Perry launched a TV show, Assisted Living. He's bringing it to mainstream media because he knows and understands this is going to be a part of the American household conversation over the coming years, and he wants to be a part of that conversation. Jimmy Buffett opened Margaritaville themed retirement communities. Now, I'm not even the biggest fan, but heck yes, I want to sip a margarita until my last days. That sounds like a whole lot of fun. And Tony Robbins said that senior housing is his number 2 top place he likes to invest. So, all sorts of people from all sorts of walks of life are taking note, and maybe you are too. That's probably why you're here. Now, we all know there's different options for single family home investing. Obviously, you can take a home, you flip it, you sell it. You make that money one time, 20 to 100K, and as soon as you sell it, you're out of the job. You've got to go get another one and do it again, and another one and do it again. And that sure looks like the rat race to me. It's not cash flow, it's cash now. So, cash flow is when you have a single family rental, one family living in the home, paying you, your mortgage plus a couple $100. And maybe each year you've got to find a new family. And this comes with tenants, toilets, potentially unpaid rent and drama. Your floor goes out, your roof needs repair, your AC breaks, and that could be your entire year's profit gone like that. You can get to your freedom number doing this. Don't hear me wrong, but you have to get comfortable with the numbers of it. You may need a couple hundred doors to get to your freedom number. And you could do group homes. This is where, maybe you're caring for a specific population, foster kids who've aged out of the system, women who've been battered, sober, people out of prison, veterans. Group homes are an amazing way to serve a population who needs support and housing, and you can cash flow $1,000 a month or more. Airbnbs. Listen, if you follow us on social media, you probably think I hate Airbnbs. The reality is, I love them. I love to stay in them. I just do not think that they're the safest place for us to invest. With cities like Scottsdale, Nashville, Atlanta, Honolulu practically shutting it down, making them almost impossible for Airbnb owners to be successful, I just think we missed that wave. If this was 20 years ago, I'd be all for it, but it's kind of too late now. Owning and operating a residential assisted living home, 10K a month on the low end. If I had one single family home and I had to decide what to do with it, it just makes a whole lot of sense to go that direction. But Proverbs says, he who doesn't look ahead remains behind. And listen, if you're not religious, Wayne Gretzky says, I like to skate where the puck is going, not where it has been. I think that this whole opportunity is about looking at what's coming in our country, in our world, and it is either going to be the biggest opportunity of our lifetimes or one of the biggest crises that you and your family have ever faced. If you have not had a loved one go into assisted living, you might not know exactly what I'm talking about, but financially, emotionally, physically, it is very, very draining when your loved one needs this care and support. But when you've already figured it out beforehand, it erases all of those negative things and becomes a really positive thing. So, what is residential assisted living? Simply, it's a group home for seniors that provides assistance with the residents' activities of daily living, ADLs. This is bathing, dressing, toileting, eating, getting up out of a chair, taking pills, brushing your teeth. All of these things are what seniors need help with. And that's why they move into assisted living. They need help with 3 to 5 ADLs. They're not moving in for funsies, right? It's not a Brookdale, a Sunrise, an Atria, right? Big hallways with impersonal staff where your loved one is called by a number. There's only one other place in the world where humans are called by numbers, and it's not very nice there either. I don't love commercial assisted living facilities because one of my biggest with them is their ratios. They'll have 30 seniors to one caregiver. I'm sorry. Yeah, 30 to 1. Yeah. I thought I said it the opposite. It is absolutely not set up for success when it comes to what those seniors actually need. I also want to specify it's not Golden Girls, right? It's not four mature women living in a home who need minor help with landscaping or changing a light bulb. This is more independent living, not what we're focused on. Today, we're talking about residential homes being used for assisted living, residential assisted living. They're single level homes in nice parts of town, as many bedrooms and bathrooms as you can, right, to suit for those seniors. So if you have 10 seniors, like I'm allowed to have in the Phoenix market, all of my homes, this being one of them, are 10 bed, 10 bath homes. Now, again, they didn't start that way. We converted them to become that way. But that's what seniors want, to be in a nice upscale area with privacy, really living out their golden years. And inside the home, the floors are smooth and clean. The furniture is age appropriate. In the bedrooms, there's beds, dressers, nightstands, and tables and chairs and TVs. And in the bathrooms, there's ramps, guardrails, handrails, things to keep the seniors safe. Who's living in the home? None other than our adorable seniors just living out their golden years. And I love to share this photo because you could see the caregivers sitting and enjoying this celebration with the residents. Like I said, in those big facilities, the caregiver cannot do this. And it's not because they don't want to. Trust and believe they want to. It's that the system is set up to fail them and in turn fail the seniors. And in our homes, it's all about giving the seniors the best of the best in their last years of life. And listen, we go hard, baby. We celebrate everything from Halloween, Thanksgiving, Mardi Gras, St. Patrick's, you name it, we go hard. Now, our company motto is to do good and do well, because the reality is there's a million different ways you can make money in real estate. And being a part of the Realty 411 group, you've probably realized that by now. But this is an opportunity where you can make money and feel good about it. Do good and do well. You're going to have the families thanking you. No more punches in the wall and people saying screw you or F you with that check every month. No, 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 no. If you are looking, to feel good about your investments and be proud of the work that you do, if you're looking to have enough income to live the life you've dreamed of, to stop settling, stop working overtime for not enough pay, or maybe you're looking to leave a legacy for your family and grow true wealth, this should be ticking your boxes. This is the only form of real estate where I've ever received checks for $6,000 wrapped in a love letter saying, thank you for loving my mom. Thank you for caring for my dad. The facts and statistics are there's 76 million baby boomers and 10,000 people turning 65 every single day, 4,000 people turning 85, but 90% of seniors want to stay in their own homes. Yet 70% of us will need daily care for an average of 3.5 years. That's how long, my slides are going crazy. That's how long they are staying in your home. My crystal ball says they're going to need care and assistance, and I want to be the one that provides it. Harry S. Dent, the New York Times bestselling author of The Demographic Cliff, said the opportunity of our lifetimes in real estate development and investing is likely to be in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. He was at our assisted living conference a couple years back, and I want you to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, so what Jane's in charge of is this organization called Residential Assisted Living. In your opinion, is that the best real estate play to be in?
It is, because I always tell people, because the baby boom was so large, everything they do as they age is the best sector. People say millennials, there's more millennials, well, they're not as big a wave. They're a fraction of the wave. So what assisted living and nursing homes do, they play the last stage of the baby boomers, the largest generation in history, and nobody sees it coming. Nobody. Oh, we do. You do. Nobody sees. I bring this up and people say, Harry, what are you smoking? Oh, the baby boomers already retired. They're already in assisted living. No, they're just starting.
Yeah.
In
Oh, yeah.
2018.
Oh, yeah.
They got 26, 28 years of nonstop growth. Nothing will grow faster and nobody will see it coming.
Pretty cool to see them sitting around talking about that. You've got Harry S. Dent, the famous statistician. We just saw his book, The Demographic Cliff, Robert Kiyosaki, my father, the late Gene Guarino. And you may recognize the other two on the edge. You got Jonathan Goldsmith, who used to be in those Dos Equis commercials. He actually invests in assisted living and was good friends with my father. And then Brad Upton, who you may see on Comedy Central here and there. He's a really funny, clean comedian. Right about now, I'm sure there's some things popping up in your mind that are saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, don't I have to work in one of these homes if I want to own one? No, listen, I don't work in mine, and that's not what I'm showing you how to do either. I show you how to work on the business, not in the business, hiring the strategic players so that you can be hands off. My 3 homes, I spend 5 hours a week working on them, and it's mostly like this on Zoom and on phone call. Haven't visited them, I think, almost this entire year, right? Usually I try to go once a quarter, but I'm due for a visit. I haven't been because I really don't need to be there. There's no purpose for me to be there. I own and operate the real estate and the business. I'm not doing any of the day to day. Now, the liability, isn't it going to be through the roof? Nope. It's about $2 to $3 per resident per day. So it's a line item with 10 residents, $900. You're going to want it, you're going to need it, but nothing to break the bank over. You can't find good employees. Oh, these are fighting words. We talked about the caregiver ratio of 30 to 1 and how in our homes it's 4 to 1 or 5 to 1, and the expectations that are relieved from those caregivers when they're actually able to do the job that they are set out to do. Caregiving is a very tough job, and it's the most in demand job in our country today and for the next 30 years because of the silver tsunami. But I think that it's about finding those amazing people, treating them very well, paying them well, and loving on them. Caregiving's a tough gig, and there's a lot of disrespect that happens for our caregivers in those larger facilities systemically and person to person. So I think it's about being a better employer and bringing a better self to the table, being a better boss, than it is about blaming and pointing fingers on them when really things aren't set up for them to be successful. So, we have students, one of my students, Deidre, out in Connecticut, she's owned her care homes for 6 years. And in 6 years, she hasn't had one caregiver leave her. That's a testament because the average turnover in a big box for a caregiver is 100 days. They stay for 100 days. That's it. You guys, that's crazy. Someone staying for 6 years or 100 days, it's all about how you treat them and respect them. Do you need medical experience? This is a great question and one we should address. You do not need medical experience, or I wouldn't be here talking with you. I'm a real estate investor myself, not a nurse, not a doctor. If you are one of those things, right, it's definitely a feather in your cap to be able to market the home as nurse owned, physician owned, doctor owned. That's amazing. I don't have that and I don't need that because, again, I'm not working in the home, living in the home. I'm hiring the staff to do all of that day to day so I can do my skills, which is work on the business and the real estate. And HOA won't let me do this. Bah humbug. Listen, just not true. Because of the Federal Fair Housing Act, which is a federal law that trumps any state, city, county, angry neighbor, or HOA who tries to tell you no, we are a protected class. Now, this is a beautiful thing when it comes to real estate investing because 99% of the other opportunities out there are not protected. And if someone says, hey, you can't do that here, that they win. But because of this federal law, and because of the RAL National Association, which we created that represents those 30,000 group homeowners, we've got legal backing and power for you if someone tries to tell you no. Just because they won't win doesn't mean that they won't try to say no. And if they do, we got your back. Who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters. You're going to call the RAL National Association. We're there for you. Seniors can't afford this. Well, listen, boom, knock it out of the park. I'm going to show you exactly how they do. At the end of the day, this is just a piece of real estate being used to cash flow way more than all of the other opportunities you're used to seeing. So what are the 3 smartest options for you to participate? We learned about the 4 ways to get started, but within those 4 ways to get started, there's 3 options. First is you could own the real estate and lease it to an operator, only being on the real estate side. We call this being a preferred real estate provider. So you would buy property, fully renovate it, get it ready to go for assisted living, and then lease it out to someone who's going to run this business in your home. They'll be signing a 3, 5, 8, 10, I've even seen 12-year contract with you. So as a landlord, talk about no turnover. Woo, woo, baby, this is perfect, right? So it's a long-term tenant. They're a business trying to plant roots and establish a brand and a reputation. They don't want to be kicked out. Location is everything in this industry. But you can be getting 2 times the fair market rent. Why? Well, you've done the hard work of getting the home prepped and ready to go, almost right there to licensing, so that they can come in and boom, pick it up and go quickly to what they need to do. So they're willing to pay you because they're paying for speed. You've helped them. This isn't just taking any old home and leasing it to someone who's going to do this. No, 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 no. You've taken the time to widen hallways, add bedroom, bathroom, add fire suppression, whatever it is. All these different things have saved them, and now they're willing to pay you for that work. They're signing a long-term contract, and they're a low impact tenant that requires little or no maintenance. What do I mean by that? I mean, there's no teenagers, like we said, boom, punching holes in the wall, no pit bulls being bred in the living room, right? No motorcycles being dissected in the dining room. No, 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 no. It's a couple little grannies. Worst thing that happens is the rocking chairs goes back and forth one too many times into the sheetrock. Okay. One of our students, Ryan, he used to work for the TV show Flip or Flop with Tarek El Moussa, Ryan on the far left. He came to our training and he'd flipped hundreds of homes all across the country, and he was on fire for assisted living. So he purchased a home, he renovated it all for assisted living, and then COVID hit. He was living in Northern California and he said, I do not want to live here. The rules and regs are way too much for me. I want to go live on a farm in the Midwest. So he called us and he said, what do I do? And we said, option number 1, baby, you go ahead and start calling other care home owners and see who'd be willing to lease from you to start another business. He made 13 phone calls, and by his 13th call, he had 5 offers. He's now living on a farm, making 2 times the rent on that property. He's got nothing to do with it, doesn't have to deal with maintenance. He's out of state. It's out of his hands. He has an 8-year contract with them, so he's on year 5 right now. He's gotten percentage increases every single year, and the person has an option to renew and an option to purchase. That is a chef's kiss, beautiful way to get started in this industry. Now, some of you might want a little more control and a little more cash flow. This is what I like to do. This is what most of our students like to do, and it's option number 2. Own the real estate and operate the business. This way you control the most, and really this maximizes the profit you could be making. Like I said, most of our students do this. Christy and Brett out in Missouri, this is what they do, and they opened a gorgeous 12-bed care home right behind them here. The third way you can get started, and many people come to our training to do this as well, is they say, I just want to lend on one of these projects. I don't want to own the real estate. I don't want to operate the business. I just want to lend my money to someone who's going to do all of that and get my returns. You could be a private lender or JV partner. If you are an accredited investor and this is something you're interested in, send me a message and I will get you connected with our top tier students. That's what Victor did when he came to the training. He said, I want to learn exactly what I'm investing in, what a good deal looks like, and maybe meet some potential people who I trust and know are trained by the nation's best. So he came to our training so that he could do just that. Now, I want to dive deep into some of the state-by-state rules and regulations, because there's a reason why having a national coach is a great idea instead of going with a local coach. Because sometimes when things are only local and you hit a snafu, a local coach will say, well, that's just how it's done here. But because we are national, owning and operating for the last 15 years, training for the last 11, with students in all 50 states, we've learned it all. And sometimes when you know something happens in another state, I can help you out by saying, hey, let's reference back to this. Let's fight this and say, well, actually, this is how it should be done. So I'm going to give you a couple examples, starting with South Carolina. Now, their rules and regulations, you have to be licensed through the state, and it's primarily the license is based on safety and construction elements within the home. So you are not getting a license, right? You are getting a home that will get licensed. The physical property will be licensed. You're hiring an administrator who will be licensed, not a doctor, not a nurse, a licensed administrator, and they're hiring licensed caregivers. So again, you don't have a license, the home, the administrator, the caregivers. But their state, it's based on safety and construction elements. Almost all states it is. It is $10 per licensed bed or $75, whichever is greater, and they have no state maximum number of residents allowed. Now, most states do have a number, and it's somewhere between 6 and 16 that are allowed in a residential home. But they have no max number, which is pretty cool. Your policies and procedures for this state can be found at dph.sc.gov. It's usually some sort of government website that kind of guides you on what you're going to need in your policies and procedures. And your qualified staff have to be capable of rendering care services to residents, sufficient education to perform their duties to speak, read, and write in English, and demonstrated working knowledge of applicable regulations. That's it. Oh my goodness. No license, no specific license, no age, no, high school diploma, nothing. It's basically saying like, hey, if they can read, write, and do English, okay, that's it. Apparently I can't do English right now. So that is pretty bare minimum. That is pretty low. So again, if you're in a state with low requirements, you may want to look at a state with higher requirements and say, in our home, we abide by these XYZ rules. Now, bedroom, bathroom, it's 100 square feet for a private room, 80 square feet for a shared room, so 160 with two people there. And it says resident sleeping room shall be sufficient size to allow 3 feet between two beds. Man, that is itty bitty 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 bitty. I'm going to recommend 12 by 12 or 14 by 14, but let's look at another state. Louisiana, they also have safety and construction elements, but it costs 25 for the license fee or 25 for the initial application and 75 for the license. You're allowed to have 8 residents in level 1, 16 in level 2, and more than 17 in 3. That's where you find your state policies and procedures, and the administrators must have 12 hours of continuing education every year. Oh, I like that. I mean, if you were in South Carolina, there was nothing about continuing ed. Might you want to incorporate that in your home? Oh, yes. The facility must provide an additional 5 days of supervised training for direct care. Love that. They may be coming in with experience of other homes, but your home might be run very differently. To retrain them is a beautiful thing. Bedroom, bathroom minimum requirements 120 here and 200 for a semi-private, no more than 2 per bedroom. If you're I'm going to say it over and over again, but really seniors want privacy. They really do preferred private bedrooms and bathrooms setup, but 100 square feet, 120, that's really small. My recommendation is 300 to 500 square feet per resident. So with 10 residents, minimum a 3,000 square foot home, upwards of 5,000 is very comfortable. Let's look at Michigan. Okay, 200 for the license fee. You're allowed to have 20, but there's those 3 different levels as well, similar to Louisiana. You need policies and procedures, and it doesn't give us a state website. The qualified administrator must be 18 years old and have education or training related to the population, and you must have a wake staff 24/7. Huh? We didn't have that in the other states. So that means that they are allowed to have sleeping staff at night. Now, I don't love live-in caregivers. I prefer shift work, 8, 10, or 12-hour shifts. I don't like live-in because, if I have to fire you, now you're jobless and homeless. And that's a lot to put on me. So I prefer shift work, keeps it nice and clean. You come to do your job and you leave and go home. But I'm definitely not paying anyone to sleep. Night shift, they're up. They're cleaning, doing laundry, baking fresh cinnamon buns for the morning, whatever it is, they're working. Minimum 1 person on staff at all times. Yikes. Talk about those ratios. You know how big boxes get away with a 30-to-1 ratio? It's because the states don't have rules about it. They have this 1 person on staff. Are you kidding me? 1 person to take care of potentially 20 people? No way. That is not okay for our seniors. 80 square feet for a private, 70 square feet for a semi-private, and 20% or more must have a private bathroom. Again, very minimum. I'm going to recommend you go above that. Now, listen, no state is perfect. Every state has pros and cons. So it's just important that you know and understand what these options are so that you can see them. I'm going to break down two more. East Coast example, New Jersey, 1,515 per bed, no state resident maximum, but you must have a certificate of need. A certificate of need is where you have to go do an internal feasibility study to determine how many seniors live in that area, how many beds already exist, and if there is a need. Might that be important research to do anyways? Oh, yes, right? No big box, right? No Brookdale is planting down and breaking ground unless they've spent millions on an internal feasibility study. You don't need to spend that. You just need to go do your research and do it. So even though your state doesn't require a CON, you should require one for your own sanity. Policies and procedures are required. The administrator must be 21 and have a GED and take an assisted living competency exam and get a criminal background check. These other states did not require that, you guys. Again, should you require that? More than likely, yes. What the beautiful thing about this industry is there's state rules, and then there's what I'm going to show you to do at our training, which is so far and above your state rules that if you just follow us, by the time you get to the state, they're going to be like, whoa, you're amazing. You're better than all these rules. And you're going to be like, I know, that's the point. Bedroom, bathroom situation, 150 and 80 for a shared and no more than two per room. California will be our last one right here, 2,000 to apply. You can have 6 residents in a home unless you add fire suppression, aka sprinklers, which I recommend you do anyways, and apply for a variance. If you have enough square footage, they may allow you to have more than 6 residents. Licensing takes 3 to 4 months. Good for us to note that this isn't going to be, I turn in my paperwork, I get approved the next day. So what can we be doing in those 3 to 4 months to prepare as we're waiting for that license to come? Policies and procedures is through the state, the administrator, 21 with a GED, 80-hour course up front, 40 hours of continuing ed every 2 years. I love it. Keep them on their toes, keep them fresh. It's so important. Bedrooms shall be large enough to provide easy passage between comfortable usage of bed and other required items. Yikes. No square footage requirement. Wow. Again, my rule, 300 to 500 square feet per resident. So this is a really good way to show you that all of your rules are going to be all over the place, but it's nice to have a rule of thumb. And that's what we share with you when you come to the training. So let's dive into the nitty gritty. How much does assisted living really cost? Because y'all are coming from all across the country, and so it's going to vary based on where you live. But this is a great website to go to, so you can jot this down and check it out, carescout.com/cost of care. When you go here, you can search how much assisted living is on average in your area. Now, the average cost of in-home care is $34 per hour. So remember I said the 3 options for my grandma, we do the care, in-home care with a caregiver, or put her into a home. In-home care at $34 an hour. If your loved one needs 24/7 care times 30 days in a month, that's over $24,000 a month for just the care. Not even the mortgage, not even the utilities, the activities, the medication, the food, the this, the that. It's going to cost you 25, 26K to keep your loved one at home. Well, most Americans can't afford that. So then they say, well, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't need, 24/7 care. I'll take nights and weekends. I just need someone to watch 9 to 5. Well, say goodbye coming to Realty 411, book club, wine club, poker night, church, you name it, adios. Because when a senior needs care, they need it and they need it now. It's not, hey, mom, jump in the car. We're going to Johnny's soccer game. No way. It's painful for mom to get out of bed, let alone get in the car, drive for 20 minutes, sit in the bleachers for 2 hours. It's not happening. Average cost of assisted living in our country right now, $5,900 per month per resident. What states have the most expensive assisted living? Well, Hawaii's at the tippy top with average rates of 11,311. Alaska next, then Washington, D.C., Massachusetts, Connecticut, Delaware, New Jersey, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and California closing us out at 7,350. But within your state, there are variables to consider. So even though California is 7,350, San Luis Obispo is $10,005. Selena's next at 9,500. We've got San Francisco, Sacramento, LA, Bakersfield, Redding, Chico, and then Yuba City at 4,000. Now, this does not mean if you love mom, move her to San Luis Obispo, but if mom didn't love you, move her to Yuba City. No, listen, if you live in Santa Maria, mom or dad is probably coming to Santa Maria. Wherever you live, eat, work, sleep, play is usually where mom or dad is going. But if you had one home bringing you in an extra $10,000 a month, would you be more confident and secure knowing you could pay your bills easily and stay in control financially? Would you be more comfortable knowing you had a place for your loved ones to go if they ever needed care and assistance? And would you be more fulfilled knowing that you're making a difference and leaving a mark in the world? I hope so, because if this is ticking your boxes, we're about to get into the juicy part. We know that average cost in our country is $5,900 per month per resident. So I'm going to bump it up to 6,000 for easy math. And I'm going to use 10 as our number right there because as you saw, we're allowed to have somewhere between 6 and 16. Some of your states unlimited, but 10's kind of again right in the middle. So a very average example right here. That's bringing us in $60,000 a monthly gross income. But there are a lot of expenses in this industry from cable to food, activities, landscaping, utilities, your caregivers, your administrator, vacancies, property insurance, property taxes, you name it. Now, if you want to do it all yourself, be the candlestick maker, the cook, and the baker, you're going to live in the home, work in the home, wipe the seniors' bums, get the groceries, do it all, then you could probably bake in for that 30,000. But that's not what I do, and that's not what I'm showing you how to do. I want to show you how to be hands off in this industry. And so you're going to need to pay for staff to be hands on. Someone's got to be hands on. It's not a hands off industry, but you can be a hands off owner, if that makes sense. So let's use our $40,000 number and bake that in. And then debt service, we can get a pretty nice home in most parts of the country for $10,000 a month. That's leaving us with $120,000 per year or $10,000 a month in your monthly net take home as a hands-off owner on an average 10-bed RAL home. But the reality is it's 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. wherever you live. And you know what an average person's doing right now? They're sitting watching Netflix. They're watching the game. They're, being lazy, doing whatever it is. They're not sitting here on a webinar, investing in themselves, learning, growing, becoming better, becoming smarter, checking out new opportunities. No way. You are better than average. You probably would want something better than average for your loved one or for yourself. So let me show you what a nicer example might look like. These are my students Scott and Michelle's numbers out in Metairie, Louisiana. $7,200 times the same 10 residents, bringing in 72,000 now. We keep the same overhead because it's the same 10, but it's our debt service that increases. We bumped it up to 12,000. Maybe the home's in a nicer part of town. Maybe there's more bedrooms and bathrooms. Maybe it's a bigger lot size. I don't know. But this home now bringing us in $20,000 a month or $240,000 per year. One home. That's pretty amazing. Scott and Michelle, they've got 4 homes out in Louisiana doing exactly these numbers. They become completely financially free. They've got 2 littles that she gets to stay at home with full time. He was a pharmacist before this, said goodbye to that career. No more CVS, long hours for him. He's cash flowing like crazy. Some of you live in states like Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Georgia, Florida, Texas, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, where you're allowed to have 15 or 16 residents. Maybe you want to do a luxury home like our student Brian in New Jersey, where he's charging $8,000 times 15 residents, bringing in $120,000 a monthly gross income. Overhead here does increase because it's not 10 residents, it's 15. So we need to pay for more care, more food, more electricity, but also it's luxury, baby. If they want lobster and cheesecake every night, they get it. If they want Hulu and Netflix, we're throwing in HBO for free. Whatever they want, they get. Debt service, it's going to cost us a pretty penny to have a 15-bed, 15-bath house. I put in $20,000 a month for the debt service. This one home now bringing in $40,000 a month or $480K per year. How would you be spending that money? How would you be spending your time? Imagine if you had more than one of these. This is Brian's home that I said, those were his numbers right there in New Jersey. Imagine if you had three of these, three homes cash flowing between $10,000 and $40,000 per month. How much would your life change? What would you be thinking about? What would you wake up and want to do? What could you accomplish? What could you donate to? I mean, the world becomes your oyster when these numbers are your reality. But it all comes down to the 5 keys to success. And we've got to start with number one, which is location. We can't talk about real estate without talking about location, but when it comes to RAL, it's about density, demand, and demographics. This is not if you build it, they will come. You absolutely have to make sure that you have done the research to determine that there are enough seniors in this market and that they're the right seniors. What I mean by that is you are looking for areas where the majority population is 50 to 70 years old, making 2 times the median income. They're homeowners and they're college grads. This is not the seniors living in your home. This is the adult children who want mom or dad to be close to them. So we want to follow them, daughter Judy, as we call her. You don't want to do a care home in a level 1 or level 2 area. I don't care if that's the only place you can afford the real estate. You're not using your own money to do this anyways. But don't be fooled that you have to go to a level 5 area. You don't either. Right? Level 5, you might also feel uncomfortable. Maybe manicured lawns, guard gated neighborhoods, really, really high end luxury, multi-million dollar homes. Well, we don't need to be in that neighborhood. Level 3, 4, that's our sweet spot. If 5,900 is our average, anything below that is below average. So we want to stick in that sweet spot. And I know level 5 looks nice. Woo, 9 to 12 per person. Sign me up, baby. Pause. Look at the shape of the chart. Your opportunity zone shrinks. Because if someone could afford that, might they also be able to afford in-home care? Yeah, potentially. Donald and Talinda, when they came to the training, they said, "Thank you to the RAL Academy. It's been amazing the support we've received from you guys. We wouldn't have been able to make this journey without you." They opened a gorgeous 12-bed memory care home out in Kansas City, and I couldn't be more proud of them. Before they came to the training, we gave them the foundations course. These are videos that get you in the right headset, heart set, mindset. So when you learn the information, you're ready to go, you're ready to take action, you're ready to move forward and become successful. Now, number 2 is your team. You are not it. You have to build your team so you can repeat and scale. This is not DIY till the day you DIE. No. The way I can be hands off is because my beautiful manager, Mariella, right there in the middle, she runs all of the day to day. A caregiver calls out, I don't know about it. She does. Something happens, she figures it out. She calls me once a week. We have once a week meeting where we kind of break down and go through how I can support and help her, but it's really not much. 5 hours a week because of the systems and the team in place. And that's how you should do this. Dean out in Georgia, he said, "I never thought I would own an RAL, but I had to make a plan for my partner and myself. We're now cash flowing like we never imagined and leaving a legacy for our children and having a lot of fun in the meantime." The reality is, I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't give you the same opportunity that I gave to Dean, where we gave him the profitability calculator when he came to class so he could plug in numbers, see if a deal is good or bad, see if he should run away from it or stick with it. That tool helping him become successful and quickly open multiple homes out in the state of Georgia. Now, number 3, the resident is not your client, but we do need to talk about who is your client. Because if you are spending marketing dollars, marketing efforts trying to attract someone into your home, we learned that 90% of the seniors don't want to leave their home. So if you put marketing dollars and speak their language and address their concerns and needs, they don't want you anyways. You're not going to convince them otherwise. You've got to speak to daughter Judy. You've got to speak to son Bob. You've got to speak to the adult children who are moving mom or dad into your home because they are making the decisions at this point in time. Ogita, one of our incredible students, took our online home study course and said, "Thank you to Rala. My family's opened 4 homes since we took your course. Thank you, thank you, thank you." She's out in Florida. And Mitch and Jen, just rock stars. They said, "Our vision is to open 100 luxury RAL homes and build a great reputation for RAL in our community. We're excited to be at the right place at the right time." They're on home number 28 out in Colorado. Can you imagine? 28 homes cash flowing at 10K a month, at 40K a month. I mean, that is absolutely game changing. Now, number 4 is getting paid. Remember, I said, how do seniors afford this? I said, we'll come back to it. Here we go. Do not focus on Medicaid. Don't focus on any government funding. Focus on private pay residents and maximize your long-term care insurance. So when people go to pay for care, they're usually using maybe Medicare, maybe subsidized by the VA, long-term care insurance. 10% of our population has that. But majority of the seniors, probably 95%, are using their cash, their savings, their IRA, their investments, or they're selling physical homes, physical properties that they own, and using that capital to pay for their care needs. Remember, the baby boomer population, 20% of the population controls 50% of the wealth, holds majority of the real estate in our country today. They have the capital to do this, especially when you are targeting the daughter Judys who are more affluent. Remember that demographic, that location, number 1. A lot of people are relying on their kids to pay the bill. So if you are a daughter Judy, you are a son Bob, you're sitting here saying, I never talked to my mom or dad about their plan for this. Today might be your day. Because if you don't have a plan, you need to get prepared. An average of 5,900 times 3 years, that's a lot of money coming out of your pocket that if you're not prepared for, it can take a big hit. When we met Walt, he'd been in the business for a long time, 15 years. He didn't trust that his kids were going to take care of him in the way he wanted, so he custom built his own RAL and moved in day 1, lived for free, and cash flowed till the day he died. Smart man. When we met him, we said, please come to the training. Please tell us what we are missing out on, what we are not sharing with everyone. What have you learned over the years? What do we not know? Please help us. And he said, actually, I learned how I was leaving over $15,000 a month on the table, over $2 million during those 15 years. I felt sick to my stomach, but grateful to find out too. The little thing he was missing that we helped him 10x, we now have care home owners and operators who see me on webinars, talk to us on social media, meet me in person and say, I'm not cash flowing the way that you say, I can be. What am I doing wrong? And they come to the training and they learn those things so they can 10x their business. So if you are here and you're in this industry or know someone who is and they're not cash flowing the way I'm describing, maybe it's time to come learn. I know that Linda's out in California, and so I wanted to break down some 6-bed examples because I'm sure some of you are also in California. And although we can apply for a variance, add in fire suppression, and get approved for more than 6 residents, I want to show you some examples. This is Home Sweet Home, one of our students' homes out in Florida. And in Florida, you can have 16 residents, but in this particular county that he's in, you can only have 6. So his rates are $8,250 times the 6 residents. His monthly gross coming in is about 50K. His overhead is 32.5, and his debt service is 5,500. This one home brings him in 11,500 every month. This is one of Dave's 4 homes out in Florida. I also want to share with you one of our students, Deshaun, who's out in North Carolina, a single father who came to the training, had no real estate experience, and dived all into RAL. Miss Bell's charging 8,500 times 6 residents, bringing in 51,000 every month. His overhead is just over 29,000 and his debt service 5,800. His monthly net income on this home is 15,898. Now, those are good numbers for 6 beds. So if you're sitting here in California, I just wanted to ease your worries with that before we jump into the last key to success, which is my favorite because I'm type A, okay? Systems. Systems are critical for success because they save you time, energy, and money. And you're going to need systems around team building. How do we identify, train, and retain the right staff so that you don't have to be hands-on in the industry, so that you can, relax and step back and just cash flow and really run things operationally instead of, in the business. So systems around team are everything. Now, real estate. Many of you are pros at this, but what's the difference between what you already do and this version of location acquisition renovation? We want systems around that so you can grow and scale quickly and open multiple homes like so many of our students before you. Funding. You know, I shared with you earlier, how do people fund this? And there are 7 ways to fund your RAL. The 2 most popular is using SBA loans, SBA 7A or 504, or through syndications and private money. We even provide a private lenders list to our platinum students who come through our training. Partners. You cannot go at this alone. Other forms of real estate, like I said, you can DIY all day. But in RAL, nope. You got to have partners within your team with local geriatric doctors, placement agents. There's a whole network of people waiting for you to join. Last but not least is operations. We need systems around your policies and procedures, your emergency plans, your menus and schedules, all the documents you need to get licensed and staffed in your state. All of those states said you're going to need to turn in policies and procedures. So we've got to get it systemized. You know, Carla Lee, when she came to our training, she said, I took the course in February. I had a business in July, and I spoke with many others in my area. And for them, it took years to get their doors open because they didn't have the support I had. She was 22 years old when she came to the training, and she opened 9 homes in less than 3 years. That is insane. And I remember when she came to the training because she had no money, and I mean no money. She borrowed her mom's car and drove from New Mexico to the training because that's how desperate she was to change her life, to radically change her life. Maybe this is sticking, maybe this is hitting you. Maybe you're like, I'm in that position. Credit card debt. I'm tired of flipping. I'm tired of these rentals. I need something different. I've got to break out of this. And if that's you, be like her. Come to the training. I'm going to give you an opportunity and a big discount in just a moment. Sean out in Houston, Texas, he said, I opened my first home a couple months after finishing the course. My third's home up and running. Now I'm working on my fourth, and hallelujah, I quit my corporate job and I got the Maserati I've always dreamed of. Listen, maybe it's a boat, a house, a car. Maybe it's donating $1 million. I don't know what floats your boat, but whatever it is, we're here to support you. When Sean came to the training, we gave him the roadmap to success, the step-by-step plan to get his home up and running easily and successfully so he could move quickly and get it done. Brad, I ran into Brad. You know, I went to speak at the Michigan RIA about a year ago, and I came back a couple months ago, and there was Brad. And he said, I came to give you my brochure and say, please come to my open house. He opened his home. He said, we took the course. We now have a home in Michigan up and running. Thanks for the support, resources, and encouragement along the way. I can go through success story after success story, but the real question is, will you be the next success story? You know, I shared with you earlier, I'm doing you a disservice if I don't get you to the training, if I don't, share with you all of this information, because this is going to impact you one way or the other. But right now you have a choice, and you always have a choice. One, you can have a Men in Black moment, flash, forget everything we're talking about. Pretend, you don't even know about residential assisted living. Just keep living your life, keep doing you. And listen, when you're ready for a bed, when your loved one needs a bed, I'll always be here. 2, you can say, I don't need you, lady. I'm going to YouTube University and I'm going to go figure it out on my own. And for those of you in that category, I wish you all the best of luck. I'll be here when you need me as well. Or 3, if you're saying, this is ticking my boxes, this is right up my alley, I'm ready to take action, I'm ready to commit, then stick with me because I'm going to give you an amazing opportunity to take advantage of tonight. Today, we were able to dive into the 5 keys to success, location, your team, clients, getting paid, and systems, and break down what you're looking for in each of these, as well as the 3 smartest options to participate and the 4 ways you can get started. I also shared with you how to become a preferred real estate provider, only taking part on the real estate side of this, getting twice the fair market rent. I showed you how you can make 10,000, 11,000, 20,000, 40,000. We went through a lot of numbers today to really break down what this could look like for you. And if you're sticking with me and you want to learn more, I'm going to share with you 2 opportunities you could take advantage of tonight. The first is our online home study course. Because we're virtual, I wanted to share this with you. In this course, you're going to learn the best opportunities for RAL in any area, how to determine if a property is right, and how to attract investors to get the funding for this. I also want to show you how to get the right team so that you can be hands off. To me, that is so, so important. I don't want you to build yourself a career. No, if you follow our system, you will not be, okay? Fill your RAL home quickly. That to me is important too. And do it in all with or without your own capital. Boom, baby. That's what we need you to know. How to do this in 3 to 6 months from today? Exactly. Our online home study course is 11 modules and 46 sections. It's go at your own pace. So you can rush through it, or you can take your time and really take notes and work through each lesson. There's quizzes along the way to check for comprehension. You have lifetime access. So every 2 years when we refilm, you get the fresh course, you get all the new content and information. There's transcripts as you go along, and there's even a Q&A section at the bottom of each video. So I log in every morning and I answer the questions that you typed in that pertain to that video. And you get continual updates as we carry along. In this course, you're learning about the opportunities, the real estate, what you really need to know about location, what are locations to avoid and which ones to go forward with. I know I got a Q&A about, hey, is this location right? This section is going to knock that question out for you so you can determine. You don't even have to ask the question anymore. You are going to know exactly what it is. We're going to go through the business section and funding, how to raise capital for this, what you need in your business plan and your pro forma, how to get a PPM if you're going to go the syndication route. We also break down the cash flow, how these homes should be cash flowing and what those numbers really look like. Marketing, this is major because if you want to be hands off, we got to make sure your beds are full. Marketing on the right channels to the right people with the right methodologies. That section is one of my favorites. And then the operations, the documents, and what you need to move forward, as well as the resources section. You know, with many years in this industry, we have so many partners who work with us to give our students incredible discounts on their different products and services. And so it will really help you as you're going along. That online home study course available for you all, typically $1,500, but right now tonight, $997. I'm going to give you a link and a promo code in just a moment to take action. But next, I want to share with you about our 3-day fast track training. Take a screenshot of this, jot it down. Our next upcoming dates are September 4th through the 7th. We've got one in October, one in December. And if you need some 2026 dates, I have those for you as well. In this training, this is for someone who wants to jump all in. Not just dabble around online, not dip your toes, but really learn every single element of this industry. At this event, you're learning everything in the home study course, plus, how to find, fill, and fund your home, how to get licensed. We're going through analyzing deals and architectural reviews, what to say and not to say on tours, how to get people to come tour your home, staffing secrets, and more. On day 2, we show you the context for the content. You're going to literally virtually see over 10 homes across the country and learn pros and cons of each of them. Break down students' numbers, just like we kind of did, where I showed you those 2 numbers. You're going to see all of that and the real story behind the deal, how they get these properties, where they find them, what they reno them for. All of it is there for you. I want you to leave knowing exactly what to do when you go out to open your home. On day 3, it's all about raising capital, case studies, and research and development. We're going into deal structures, purchasing existing business, joint ventures, asset protection, syndication, and 10 critical steps for success, as well as a bonus section on marketing your care home before it even exists so that you are building a wait list as you are walking out of class. That is game changing. Now, these 3 days, we limit them to 150 people. When they sell out, they sell out. That September class, I think we're already at 80 people. So we're about halfway there and 6-7 weeks out. So you've got some time. But tonight, this course, usually $4,997. Again, y'all getting a huge discount. Linda and I chatted before, and I really wanted to bless you all for giving me your most precious asset, which is time. So $2,997, a $2,000 discount for those of you who take action tonight. If you'd like to bring a business partner or spouse, it's an additional $1,000. I just have the BBB rule. You got to be partners in bed, blood, or bank account. All right, no strangers. And how you can take advantage of both of these deals is by going to raltraining.com and using that promo code REALTY411. Don't forget the promo code because it'll be full price if you go there. So raltraining.com, promo code REALTY411. Now again, I want to bless you. You guys just gave me your most precious asset, time, and I want to give you a take action bonus for those of you who go right now and lock in on one of those 3-day dates or our online home study course. This first bonus is for those of you who come to the 3-day, and that's the foundations course. the videos that get you in the right headset, heart set, mindset, so that you are prepared to take action. And this isn't falling on deaf ears. You know industry terms, you're up to date on where things are, and you are ready to go. That is a bonus for those of you who take action on our 3-day fast track. A bonus for either purchase is our roadmap to success. That step-by-step plan that we gave to Sean so that he could quickly move and open his care home after taking the course. This to me is so important because I can teach you everything, but you need the plan. You need the step-by-step methodology, and that is my bonus for you here today. As well as the profitability calculator, that tool that Dean used to plug in numbers and see if a deal was good or bad, if he should stay with it or run away from it. I want you to move quickly. Time is of the essence, you guys. Like I said in the beginning, we all need way more than get by money right now. And listen, if you invested that $2,997 and it allowed you to cash flow $10,000 a month for the rest of your life, is that not worth it? If you invested that $997 and you got to open a care home where you could have your loved one live if they needed support and assistance in their later years in life, would that be worth it? Oh, all day, baby. Now, the 3-day fast track training, you're getting cocktails, receptions, dinners, and lunches, meet and greet with RAL experts. I'm there as your lead educator, but there's about 10 other support team member staffs who were past students who went and opened up their care homes who are now back to help support you along the way. And they're giving you different sections that are not included in the online home study course, like procedural steps on hiring managers and caregivers, how to fill your home fast with different tours, demographic key steps, syndication 101, memory care versus RAL, branding versus marketing, remote operations, and asset protection. We're giving you a 500-page binder when you come to class so you can follow along, gather all the information, and go out and take action. With the online home study course, it's go at your own pace. There's a Q&A section and you have lifetime access. Our mission is to positively impact 10 million people by providing high quality assisted living for seniors in a residential home environment. And I cannot do that alone. I need your help. I need your support. If this is calling to you, I highly encourage you to go take action. You've got the online home study course or the 3-day fast track training, both of them available to you at raltraining.com with that promo code REALTY411. Now that's all I have for you guys tonight. I know there's a couple questions in the Q&A, so I do want to answer them. And if you have any other questions that are popping up, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will keep it open just for a moment. I know Robert's asking, hey, we live in Payson, about an hour from Phoenix. Would this be feasible for RAL? You know, Payson definitely does not have as many care homes as the Phoenix market does. There are over 3,000 group homes in Maricopa County, Robert. So it's not saturated just yet, but it's definitely one of the most populated areas for assisted livings. So Payson, there's more opportunity because there's less care homes. So as long as you're in the right neighborhood where you've got the daughter Judy's who are, making that 2 times the median income, 50 to 70 years old, homeowners, college grads, that's the area we want to be. So if you're in that area in Payson, you should be good to go. Another question, and again, if you have other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Where is the event located? It is hosted at the Hilton Phoenix Airport Hotel. So I know you're here in Arizona, so you can drive on in, but for those of you who are not, fly on into Phoenix Sky Harbor. There is a free airport shuttle that will pick you up at the airport, bring you on over to the hotel. It's where we host the event. We have room blocks for discounted room rates for you all. And again, we host all sorts of fun stuff. We start on Thursday with a cocktail reception. We've got lunches and dinners every single day, and we really take care of you to make sure that you have an excellent experience all the way through. So Phoenix Hilton Airport Hotel, and as soon as you sign up, you'll get all that information on the discounted room block. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions, but if you have them, I am here for you guys. But thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much, Isabelle, for giving all this great information about residential assisted living, and you should definitely take action. I'm sure you'll have that in the chat, those links for they can sign up and take action today. That'd be great. And thank
Yes,
you
I will drop it in the chat.
And that'll be so definitely use the promo code Realty411 so you get the discount.
Yes.
Otherwise it'll be full price. So again, I want to thank Isabelle Guarino. I want to thank everyone to attend the Realty 411. I'm going to leave this room open for a little bit here so you can take action on this offer from Isabelle today. And I just want to thank her again so much for her time and for everyone's time on this webinar.
Yes. Robert, I see your question asking because there's older people in Payson. Yeah, it definitely could be a great place for it. I would just do that demographic research first because that'll be your key to determining if it's the right location or not. Awesome. I know we've got other peeps here, but if you're shy and you don't have questions, that's fine too, but I'm happy to help. Bunmi, Carl, Chanan, Derek, Gina, John. If you guys have any questions, Juanita, here and happy to help answer for you. All right. Well, I think everyone's got their questions answered.
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, so
All right. Amazing.
uh,
Oh, thank you, Juanita. I will drop my email to you right here. And we will actually, I'm going to drop the email to my assistant so you can reach out to her. And grateful to have you here. Thanks for being here. Where do you find an REL property? Great question. So there's many different ways that you can find them. If you are looking for just a single family home to convert into one, then you could be looking anywhere, Zillow, MLS, any regular place for a single family home that you're going to do. But if you're looking to buy an existing business, these will not be listed publicly. Those that are listed publicly are usually really bad deals. So you don't want the ones that are listed publicly anyways. You're going to want something that's off market. So in the 3-day training, we actually show you how to find all the existing care homes, and then we give you a script so that you can call them and really not trigger them, not upset them, but find out if they're selling or know somebody who is, and that can really help build your list of potential homes for sale. We also do have lists that, I get sent about 100 deals a day of care homes across the country. So we give those to our Platinum Inner Circle members who've come through our training. So again, first step is learning all of it and coming to the training, but there's definitely different ways to find based on which of the 4, categories you're doing. If you're looking for land, if you're looking for real estate, or you're looking for an existing care home. And Juanita said, I'm looking to get started too. I'm currently a shared housing provider. Awesome. This is a great transition for you and another kind of way to diversify since you're already kind of in the group housing industry. So that's awesome. You're going to be perfect for this. You are welcome. Anybody else? Not sure if you'd know right off the bat, but how has success been in LA County? What are the best areas? So we do have students in LA. It is kind of a funky landscape over there, obviously, because you have like suburban areas, city areas, all sorts that's considered, LA. So definitely suburban areas are going to be better than city. You're not going to do it in the city. You're going to kind of go more on the outskirts because LA demographics doesn't really suit what we're looking for. The 50 to 70-year-olds who are making 2 times the median income, it's better if we kind of go outside of LA proper. So we do have students who are out there, they're cash flowing well, some of them with 6 beds. Like we said, California can be limited to 6, but also can have more. So definitely some with 6 and some with more. We've got a student outside of LA with 34 residents in her care home. So the sky is the limit. You could do whatever you want, and it's happening. All right. Well, thanks so much for having me, guys. I hope to meet many of you in class very soon. And you've got the link right there, raltraining.com. Don't forget promo code REALTY411. You'll have to tell Linda I say hello. And thanks for
I will.
having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate having you on, Isabelle. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful night, everyone.
God bless everyone.